What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and I'm going to go ahead and get this right out of the way. The referees can go suck on the biggest, fattest, sloppiest, nastiest dick in the world, because holy crap, was that bad. I mean, from a neutral standpoint, they're probably super excited for a game like that, because the referees' dumbass decisions today just set the stage for what ended up being a super intense, heated affair, because he just made so many dumb decisions that, of course, tempers were going to fire off at the end of the game, because he made so many dumb decisions, and it kind of cost us the game. Like, obviously, we still need to do our job, and yada, 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 and all that, and yes, our finishing was bad. But you look at both of the goals, both of them are mistakes on the VAR's point of view. First of all, the foul. That's Anthony Taylor and the AR. That's their problem. They should have seen it. It was very clear that Bentancur got mostly Havertz and got a slight poke on the ball, but he still went through Havertz to go get the ball, so that's a foul. Plain and easy, that's a foul. But they let it go, so play on, blah, 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 blah. Jorginho's an idiot, gives the ball away, and then shot, goal. And so, of course, while everything's going on over the benches because Tuchel's pissed off about the non-foul or no-foul call, and then Conte's starting to rile things up, which I'll admit after today I lost a little bit of my respect for him because of how he was acting today. Because he kicked off a lot of it with that celebration in Tuchel's face. But all of that's going on, and the VAR, I guess, just, oh, what's going on over here? Ooh, I want to watch this fight because this seems fun. Oh, possible offside? No. No, we're not going to focus on the offside. What's going on here? This is exciting to me. Because he's clearly offside. Richarlison is a good 2-3 yards offside when the shot is hit, and he's in Mendy's line of sight. And not only that, he steps toward the ball. Not in an attacking motion, but he's still affecting the play by moving toward the ball, because now he's moving along with it as Mendy is trying to get down and make the save, which means he's affecting the play. And the VAR just said, nah, players can stand in the line of the goalkeeper now. It's fine. That's okay. You can do that and not be offside. Hello? And then I don't know what the VAR was taking the final minutes of the game to not give a red card to Romero, because in what way is hair pulling okay? Like, are we just going to let that slide now? How is that not a red card and a foul for us, which means we win the game 2-1, because boom, we clear it, we're done, game over. And instead it turns into, no, it's fine, no red card, no foul, go ahead, take your corner and score off of it, that's okay. Now, we should do better defending the corner, absolutely. It doesn't matter, though, if they do their job correctly. If they make sure that that's given the red card and the foul that it's deserved. Because you can't do that. You can't pull the hair of an opponent. It's not allowed. If one of the Chelsea players did that to a Tottenham player, that would be a red and probably a penalty. So why is it that it's okay for a Tottenham player to do that to a Chelsea player, other than the fact that the referees are against us? And I know stupid conspiracy theorists are going to really try to piece all this together and, oh, Anthony Taylor. But the fact of the matter is, this is a bad showing for the referees. And it's one that the FA, they're going to come out, Tuchel made his comments, so they're going to come out, they're going to fine him, they're going to protect the referees, they're going to say, no, they did fine today. This is why none of that was given. Here's our explanation that's not really going to make any sense, but they're just going to defend the referees because it's what they do. But that's not okay. The performance from the referees today is not okay, because not only did it kick off a huge fight on the benches, which, I don't know, maybe that's what they wanted. They wanted there to be some big fight. So it's like, ooh, look at this, guys. Watch this. We're getting a lot of viewership now because look at this fight. And they can build that up for the next Chelsea-Tottenham game as well. But from an entertainment perspective and from a fan perspective, I'm sitting here going, I just want the referees to call the game fair. I just want it to be, that's a foul, then that's also a foul. That red card offense should be given a red card. And it just, none of it made any sense today. There was one moment where Basuma came in, studs up, straight leg into Loftus-Cheek, and then there was no foul for that. And I will say, it did kind of seem like there was a foul shortly after that on Richarlison that he let go as well. But it still doesn't matter, because that should have been a foul on Basuma, because he can't go studs up. So, I don't know. was really frustrated because overall the game was fine, and from a Chelsea versus Tottenham perspective, I do find it funny that Tottenham are celebrating a draw against us like they've won the league. I do find that kind of funny, and yes, a draw away is not a bad result against the top team, but it's still kind of like, you guys are really happy about this 1 point, aren't you? But from my point of view, I'm now frustrated because I feel like we did our job well enough. We played well enough. We played well enough to get the win, and some dumbass referee decisions cost us the game in the end. And that's just, it's not necessarily true because, again, there's external factors to take into account, like us finishing, us defending certain things better. Like, there are other things we could have done better to win the game despite the referee's interferences. But when a referee basically hands the other team 2 goals by not making the calls he should be making, and 2 goals that one should have been overturned for offside and the other one should never have happened because it should have been a foul coming out for us. When the referee doesn't do that, when the VAR doesn't do its job, then we're sitting here going, is there a conspiracy against us? Because, I'm not one to sit here and go, oh yeah, conspiracy theories are definitely true. But games like this make me go, maybe there is some sort of you think about everything that happened with Abramovich last year, and then all these players as well that are not wanting to come here. It does sort of feel like there's something against us in the football world. And whether that's down to stuff with Abramovich or something else, it just feels like there's an agenda against us. In preseason, nobody talks about Chelsea in preseason. Now, granted, we didn't have the best, but even when we have a good preseason, it's not, oh yeah, Chelsea, they're going to have a good year this year. Most of the time it's, oh, look how good Arsenal and Man U are going to be this year. They're going to be the ones challenging for the title. And then they never do because they're never good enough. And we're always the ones that are ahead of them, but we never get talked about because, I don't know. It feels like there's an agenda. So, anyways, enough of that. That last part was more just born out of frustration rather than actual review. As far as we're concerned, first of all, from Tuchel's point of view, still have issues with a lot of his decision making. Havertz still not a striker, trying to force it. It's frustrating. Jorginho, I get Kovacic is not available, but second game now that he's not really done much for us. In Everton, he was okay, and then the second half he wasn't. And then today, this was third place balloon d'or, guys. This guy that gave away a goal, gave away several passes, constantly gives up possession, is too slow to actually play defense. God, every time I see a game like this from him, because it's not the only time it happens. It happens a lot. Almost every other game, this is the type of performance we get. Every time I see a performance like this, all I can think is, are all of the Chelsea fans watching? Did they tune into this game? Did they watch his performance today? Because if so, I should stop seeing the whole post about, oh, Jorginho, when he's in the team, we're just a complete team. When he's playing, we just look so good. Because we don't. He doesn't help us. Most of the time, he hurts us. When he's actually playing well, he just doesn't really do much. He just keeps possession for us, and that's about it. So, God, I don't understand why he plays as much as he does, but at least Tuchel made the decision as soon as he gave away the goal, because that stupid whatever he was doing in the box, at least Tuchel made the decision to go, all right, get off the field. Because I honestly thought, there's no way he's going to yank him off, and then he did. Okay, good. But then on top of that, I want to see Broja given a little bit more time to see what he can do, actually growing into a game instead of basically bringing him on just to say, all right, get up top and, just be a bit of a nuisance. That's all he's really using him for right now. Gallagher is mainly being used for fresh legs instead of actually utilizing his ability to win the ball back. So I feel like that's another one that needs to be looked at. And obviously the whole Werner thing, that's something I'll talk a little bit more about whenever the transfer window closes and I make a video about the transfer window. But yeah, it feels like he still doesn't really have an idea of what to do in the attack. We looked better in possession today, but we still didn't really look that great in the attack. Koulibaly, great finish, and then good turnover for us that leads to a good James goal. But none of it came off of, we're knocking it around, we're moving the ball well, and then we find that pass. a lot of our possession was still kind of the same. We're knocking it around, knocking it around, knocking it around, knocking it around, and then maybe we get a pass in that doesn't really lead to a good chance. Like our best chances are still coming from high press, win the ball back, chances created, shot on goal. It's not good enough for me. So until Tuchel can either fine tune how he wants us to play, or until they get a better striker in who's going to, I guess, be the link up man up top, a better target man, I still feel like he's not really going to do much for us in the long run. In the league, I don't think we're ever really going to challenge for the title when Tuchel's in charge, because we don't have the attacking capability with him, because he doesn't know how to do it. But as I said, though, his comments after the game, he will probably get fined for what he said about Anthony Taylor and the VAR and all of that. But I really do, I'll at least give him this, I appreciate his interviews. Like, I think that's one thing when you think about everything that happened with the sanctions last year and everything happening with Abramovich. I thought he did a really good job there, and I feel like here's another good example of this is a game where he should be saying something. You know, it's one where the referee's decisions today were so clearly wrong that it is time to step up and say, hey, that's not okay, even at the risk of getting a fine. You know, because there are some games where the coach will say something, but you really look at the incident and it's kind of up in the air. Like, it's a handball that could go either way, or it's a tackle that he wins the ball, but he also catches part of the man too. And it's kind of an iffy scenario. This is a situation where the Havertz tackle, that's one that is kind of like, well, he did win the ball. So fans for Tottenham will argue that. Even though we've got he came through his back to win it. Like, that'll be the back and forth there. But the offside from Richarlison, it's the same that we've seen from so many other instances. You know, the Kovacic goal that was scored last year against Liverpool, where he's like going backwards and hits it on the volley. They looked at Rudiger for so long because, like, is he in the line of the goalkeeper's vision? Like, is he possibly blocking it off? And eventually they looked and said, no, he's not. Like, he's not blocking the keeper's vision, so he didn't really affect the play. So Richarlison is affecting the play because he's in the goalkeeper's line of vision, and again, he steps toward it. So that's one where clearly mistake has been made, VAR needs to step in, they don't. So they didn't do their job. And then, of course, the hair pulling, like, I don't even think I'll find any Tottenham fans that will realistically argue that shouldn't be a red card. You know, I have seen a couple joking, like, oh, they shouldn't have his hair that long. But those people are just trying to troll. Like, they know that that's not okay. You can't do that. So, yeah, Tuchel, I'm glad he said something. I'm glad he pointed out, like, hey, these are two mistakes that should be fixed. That shouldn't happen at this level. And they did. And it hurt us 2 times. I'm glad he said something about that. Because most managers wouldn't. They would, you know, I can't say anything. I'm not allowed to. But no, the FA, they should be dealing with this. They should be dealing with that type of issue to where that's not okay. The referee gets fined, or he's not allowed to referee next match, or something. You know, he gets demoted to 4th official. Because it's very frustrating from a fan's point of view, from the player's point of view. Like, when you see an official do all that and basically get away with it, that can be frustrating. So the fact that he was willing to step up and voice those opinions, I'm glad he did. But that's basically everything for Tuchel, though. As far as the players are concerned, Mendy made some good saves overall. The first goal, not really much he can do with it. Again, player blocking his line of vision so he doesn't get down quite as quickly as he normally would, and it was all the way across the other corner. So a little bit difficult for him. He did almost get there. And then the corner is the one where I don't know why we don't have people on the post. Like, I've always thought, at least for the back post, you know, the keeper can mostly cover the near post, but for the back post, you should really have somebody on the post. So I don't get why we don't do that, but I mean, both Koulibaly and James are right there, so it's not like he can dive through them to go win it, and he wasn't going to be able to beat anybody to the header that came in because it was like top of the 6, and it was well up there. So yeah, it's just both of the goals, I don't really see much he can do with it. I don't see much any keeper can do with it, really. But he did make some good saves. There was one, I think Sessegnon was the one that broke through. Could have been offsides, maybe not. didn't matter because Mendy made a good save. And then there was another one, flicked header in the second half that he managed to turn over the bar. That was another really good save. So, yeah, overall, solid from him. The back three of James, Silva, Koulibaly, it ended up being kind of a back two most of the time when James was back there because he tended to get a little bit more forward and Loftus-Cheek was pushed inside. So when we were attacking, it was more of a 4-3-3. And then whenever we were defending, James would drop back in, Loftus-Cheek would come back out and become a 5-2-3 again. But I thought the three of them pretty solid on the day. James, I still want a little bit more, I guess, quality on his delivery because, again, he had several chances on corners, on free kicks, and most of them didn't really find their target. Mount may have taken the corners today. Can't remember. But I just remember there were a couple free kicks where I'm thinking this is a good area. He can whip it in, and he hits the first defender. So I expect more from him on his delivery. But finish was nice. Managed to fake Lloris out. Silva and Koulibaly, both of them were pretty solid defensively. Koulibaly definitely looks a little scary on the ball. I don't think he's used to the high press as much because I don't know how much they really do that in Italy. So he's going to have to get used to teams that are willing to do what Tottenham did today, step up high, basically be right on you so you don't have a whole lot of time to figure out what you're going to do next. But defensively, I thought he was solid, and then, of course, the goal was really well taken. And then Silva just did Silva things today, cleaned up in the back, did a really good job of taking care of anything that looked too dangerous. The wing-backs, Cucurella and then Loftus-Cheek. Cucurella wasn't quite as energetic today as he was against Everton, but he still looks pretty good, still looked pretty solid. I want a bit more from him in the final third because I felt like there were some times he was a little too nervous to take anybody on. But I thought he did okay today. I thought he was solid overall. And then Loftus-Cheek, like I said, tended to drift a little bit more inside whenever James would come up. But then when he moved into the midfield in the second half, I thought looked really good. He's growing as a player, and I like what I see from him. I feel like he's really learning how to assert himself into the game and make a difference. In fact, almost had a pretty good chance late on in the second half too. So, yeah, I like what I see from him, and I hope he continues to grow because he's definitely got the physical side of the game down. We just need him to get the technical side down in the final third a little bit better because his finishing could still use some work. In the midfield, Jorginho, I already talked about the giveaway, but yeah, just another kind of typical Jorginho performance. Bad giveaways in dangerous areas, stupid decisions on the ball that don't really help us, more hurt us. This is the player that I see whenever I see him out there. I hardly see the Jorginho that people tend to rave about where, he's the one that makes everything tick, he's the one that works the midfield and stuff. I never see that. I never see that Jorginho. I've seen him make a few really good passes in his entire career, and he's been here for 3 or 4 years, and he's only made a few passes that were really, really good, defense unlocking. I don't find that to be a world-class midfielder. So, yeah, I'm frustrated that we have to see so much of him, and now with Conte getting injured, probably going to see even more of him. We really should have signed better midfielders. But Rice wasn't worth that much, so maybe the Aston Villa kid will be really, really good. We can slide him in there instead of Jorginho. But Conte, pretty solid performance from him today. Not his typical, dominating performance, but he was still very good. Hate the fact that he's probably going to be out now for a couple months, maybe, because the way he pulled up, that looked like a hamstring pull, not like a strain. It looked bad. So hopefully it's not a tear. If it's a tear, then he's out for a while. If it's just a pull, then he's out for, maybe the next month or so. So fingers crossed because we need him. We need all of the energy that he brings. Even when he's not at the top of his game, he still just has so much that he does in the midfield that is so beneficial for the team. Into the front three, Mount, Sterling, and Havertz again, just like against Everton. And all three were okay today. None of them were truly fantastic. I thought Sterling looked a little bit dropped off from the performance that we saw against Everton. Not quite as energetic, not quite as involved. But he still looked okay. Still had some really good passes. I felt like I wanted to see him take on a few more players than he did. because it felt like I don't remember really him beating anybody with pace or with his ball skill. And then Mount, I thought he looked better than he did against Everton, but still not quite the firecracker that we're used to seeing, where he's just all around, he's constantly chasing down, he's constantly on the ball, constantly making things happen. He was involved, but he wasn't quite the same quality that we've come to expect. And then Havertz did look better than he did against Everton, but here was his Everton performance, and then here was his performance today, and we need him to be here. So, yeah, it got better, but we still need a true striker, because he's not a true striker. And the fact that Tuchel thinks he can turn him into a true striker is just stupidity in and of itself. And it's insanity, and it's just banging his head against the wall trying to make that circle fit into the square slot. It's just not going to work. So, but yeah, I thought his energy, his work rate today was better. He had one chance to put the game away with actually I think that would have been the second goal if I'm not mistaken. But the cross from James was pinpoint perfect onto his foot, and all he had to do was just put it on target, and he puts it wide. And Sterling had one too that he missed, where Loftus-Cheek did a really good job basically bullying his way into the box, and then it falls at Sterling's feet, and all he has to do is just lift it over the defender, put it up in the corner of Lloris. It's probably too close for him to get to, and he skies it over. So, yeah, just a lot of missed opportunities, and we're relying on our defenders again to score for us, just like last season. So what's changed? Nothing. Hence why we're still not going to challenge for the title. We'll just be barely top four again. And then as far as the subs are concerned, first one was Spilicueta for Jorginho, and that just essentially pushed James back to the right wing back, Loftus-Cheek in the middle, and then Spilicueta came back there. And I thought he did okay. He looked solid. He still has that ability to read the game well and put himself in a good position to win back the ball. So it's something that whenever all the talk was he was leaving the club, he's going to leave the club, I didn't really want to see him go. I mean, I know he's not quite the same defender that he was in the past because he's getting a little bit older, but he still just has so much to his game it's something that you can't find in most players, that willingness to work and the ability to essentially take a one-on-one situation and make it far less dangerous. The next two subs, I believe, were, I think Pulisic and Gallagher were the next two. Yeah, because Pulisic was coming on for Sterling, and then that's when Conte got hurt, so Gallagher came on for Conte. Pulisic, I honestly don't remember anything from him. Like, I can't remember anything that he did today, good or bad. I don't think he had much of an effect on the game, which is sad, considering we kind of need him to have more of an effect, because we missed out on quite a few targets, and Ziyech, it feels like, has been isolated entirely, so yeah, wing-wise, we've basically got Sterling and we've got Pulisic now, like, as far as people who are willing to come out wide and then drive in. And Pulisic, I just feel like, has not shown much of why he deserves to start recently. Like, even in his performances off the bench, it doesn't really feel like he's coming off and helping us or really kind of giving us that boost that we need, that most of the time you're looking for from your substitutes. It's just kind of you got a little bit more energy, so you got a player that's going to run around a bit more, but not really helping you in the end. And then Gallagher, he's one that his running around and his energy, it does help the team, because he's so willing to get stuck in, he's so willing to go win the ball down, track down players. It's just such a quality player to have. He still does lack a little bit in the final third. That's something that hopefully will grow into his game, but the change, that the shift from Tottenham were really dominating the game in the second half, and then Gallagher comes on, and suddenly now we're creating all the chances. We're the ones that are like pushing for a second, a third. That came a lot from Gallagher's energy in the midfield. So yeah, I thought overall another solid performance, and I hope he's the one that gets looked for, like him and Loftus-Cheek maybe in the midfield instead of Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek. I don't know. I want to see more of Gallagher, because I feel like he deserves to play based on what we've seen from these first few performances. And then the last one was Broja, and again, another player that I want to see more of. I feel like he deserves more than just hey, go out there and run around and try to keep the lead for us. We'll kick it long to you. Use your strength and your speed to, you know, essentially be a bully back there and cause problems for their defense so they can't just boot it right back down the field. I feel like he's got qualities to his game that could help us in the final third. He's got this ability to not just hunt down the defense, but also put himself in the right place at the right time and maybe cause some problems. His finishing could get better. I mean, he's still young, so maybe learn to finish better as we go on. But it's like Tuchel doesn't want to use him. And we sold Werner now, so what are we going to do for our strikers then? Like, are we really just going to rely on, Havertz, and if Havertz not doing it, maybe Sterling, and then if Sterling's not doing it, maybe Pulisic, and if Pulisic's not doing it, then I guess we can throw Broja on and see what he can do. I don't like that. I feel like Broja is a better player than they give him credit for. And maybe he doesn't see it in training, just like he doesn't see Chalobah's worth in training, apparently, because another game where Chalobah's just on the bench, even though I feel like having Chalobah, Silva, and Koulibaly in the back would be a solid back three, because you've got Koulibaly and Chalobah with the pace and the energy, but the ball work isn't the best. And you got Silva sort of dictating the play back there. That's a solid back three, but no, we're just going to go with Azpilicueta in the first game, and then James in the second game, and Chalobah, you just sit the bench. You're not that good. You've only helped us win several games, and yeah, he's not that good apparently. That's honestly where a lot of my frustration with Tuchel comes in, is just that feeling of you don't see what this person is bringing to the team. You don't see his qualities. He's done the same thing with Ziyech, with Abraham, with Giroud. I mean, all these players that were bringing something to the team, and he just sort of isolated them, and then they left. Or they're sitting the bench, and they're probably going to leave at some point. So, I don't know. That's just my own personal opinion, but whatever the case, that's about all I have for this one. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game today? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.